Okay, we are live. Let me know you can see me and hear me okay. I actually started this stream about 2 minutes ago, and I didn't do my scheduled one. I did like a new one, so sorry for the delay. Again, let me know in the chat. You can see me, hear me okay. Everything's going good. Excuse me. All right, let's get set up here. All right. So, here's what we're going to work on today. Yesterday, I'd posted about 1,000 lines of code removed, 6 seconds, and don't ever write the down migration, ever again. And this was something that we released earlier this week for the new Workbench desktop app. So if you've been watching some of these streams, you've probably seen me work on this, heard me talk about this before, but just in case. Oh, there is, oh, you're right. Hold on, I know what that background noise is. There's a humidifier over here. All right, in the summertime, I'm in the basement. It gets kind of humid down here, so we got a dehumidifier. Normally I turn it off, but I forgot. So hopefully that helped with a little bit of the background noise. There's probably some, because I like the shotgun mic, because it's like hands-free, and I can type and point and talk to the camera and so forth. But anyway, hopefully that helped a little bit. If not, I can use my gamer's mic, and it'll take care of that. But anyway, what I was saying was we released the Shift Workbench desktop application, which is probably going to ask me to upgrade because I'm on the iMac. So let's just do it. Let's see it in action. Here we go. Oh, good. That was it. All right, cool. So anyways, we'll let that download and restart. The in-app update should fire up again. And now we should see if I run down. This is the specific one we were talking about, where basically inside of your migrations, there's of course the down migration, but this follows the convention of moving that, or removing that, which is something that honestly, I'll admit at first I was never like a huge fan of, but over probably the last year, especially in a long-lived application like Laravel Shift, it's something that like makes total sense practically. You just never run the down migrations. I shouldn't say never. Maybe in development mode you might roll them back in a pinch, but more than likely in development or test environments or CI environments, you're doing migrate fresh or whatever, or you're seeding the application to a very specific state. You just don't use down. Maybe you do, and if you do, obviously you're not going to use this task. But yeah, in production or anything like that, as in the comments, you're just not going to really run this for the most part. And the additional thing to that, which I kind of talked about in the tweet, was just also this thing of like the time to write the inverse migration. Like sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes it's not possible to write a down migration for something. What if you're injecting data? What if you're scrubbing data and renaming a column and dropping an old one, right? Like, how do you put that old data back? You don't. So again, the more you think about the down method, while it makes total sense to have both actions and have rollback as a feature, it's a great feature. I would say most applications just don't use it. Most developers just don't need to use that feature. So the benefit of not having to worry about it kind of outweighs the cost of removing it, in my opinion. For that one time you might, just go in and do the SQL statement. Just handcraft it. You probably be better off doing that anyway. So anyway, that's what happens. It goes in and removes this. So, took a little screenshot of that, threw it out there on, the old Twittersville, and removed almost 1,000 lines here from LaravelShift.com website. Don't ever have to worry about those ever again. And then Jason Beggs came along and said, hey, it should also publish a migration stub, which are now available in modern versions of Laravel, that just doesn't have the down method. So now you don't have to like keep running this, right? From now on, it clears out your old ones, and then when you do artisan make migration, you're good to go. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Jason. I expect nothing less from a fellow Jason. So we're going to build that in this stream. So that's what we're going to do. So let me close down the Twittersville and all that other stuff just to get the noise out of the way. And what I want to look up, let's go ahead and close down the workbench as well. We just kind of don't need that. What I want to do, honestly, I have not used the stubs published in Laravel. So let's take a look at the published stubs. I believe this was available. I want to say it became available in 7, but it might have been 8. So first I'm trying to figure out, yeah, here we go. The type flag 8.3.6. When was this available? I want to say it's Laravel 8, but I don't know if it was backported to 6. Well, I can figure that out later. We definitely know, oh, here we go, Laravel 7 customized stubs. I imagine, yeah, it does publish migration. So it doesn't go as far back as 6, but it goes back to 7, which I'm going to make a judgment call here. 7 is no longer a supported version. Laravel support policy. Oh, come on, kick me to the latest version already. I wish Google would clean that up just a little bit. October 6th, 2020, March. So yeah, it's dead, it's end of life. So we're just going to say, for practical purposes, that from Laravel 8 on, if the Workbench or Shift detects that you're running Laravel 8 or above, then we know to go ahead and do this extra action of publishing the stub. So let's get busy here. I'm gonna go to Shift and let's do a pull to make sure I have all the latest junk. I knew there was a bunch of changes. And let's bring up PHP Storm. Let's kind of spike this out for a second. Let's spike it out for 2 reasons. One, I recently upgraded to Big Sur. I know Big Sur is old school, but one of the reasons I wait is because I always end up having like compatibility issues, and I just don't have time anymore to like fix dependency hell and reinstall 75 apps and like the latest version and the M1 chip and all this bullshit. So like, I'm not very quick at adopting OSs, to be honest. And the annoying thing is now when I have finally adopted it and I go to run PHP unit, it actually ends up like crapping out because it like it's not supported on Big Sur or whatever. So because they did this, the version comparison inside of it actually ends up kind of crapping out. So here in a second, the no test executed thing it's kind of a misnomer. It took a little bit to figure it out, but underneath the covers, it's actually dying because of that. So long story short, I may not test drive this out in the kind of proper traditional way just because it's I don't know, I don't want to have to fire up Docker and PHP Storm and the live stream. So I may just kind of like blindly code some tests and we'll go from there. I also like Spassy Laravel stubs also remove the down method. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's something I want to take into account too. If you already have a stub that you've customized in whatever way, I want to try to be mindful to parse it and remove the down method from your existing stub as well. So that's what I want to think about here. So let's kind of take a look at these. So migration down, or down migration, I think it's called. Migration, yeah, there it is. Remove down migration. Okay, so what this kind of does so far, just to loop over the code, is we have kind of the shift facade. And the shift facade is, think of it like Carbon. It just does everything, right? So it's one of those things where I basically just run a system command, a raw system command in this case, to find all PHP files underneath the database migrations folder. And then if there somehow aren't any, then this task does nothing. Otherwise, we're going to fire up a NICIC parser, an AST parser, to actually parse out the syntax tree, find that method, remove it, remove the comments, remove the previous line breaks, all that kind of stuff. So this works, to my knowledge, right now, just fine. It's tested and everything's good here. What we need to do now is kind of split this up and create kind of some additional work. So the first thing I'm going to do is just a refactor, and this should be a green to green refactor. I'm just going to take those, and I think it's Command Option M, and extract this into a method. And I'd like that to be a private method. And we'll just call this something like update migrations or remove from migrations. And the parameter string output, that doesn't seem legit. I think I can change this. Let's call this, what string would it take? I think it takes the paths. It's not a string though, but let's refactor it anyway. I don't know what output, oh, output is this. I gotcha. Hello, hello? I don't know when I cut out there. Sorry about that. I think lately this, hopefully y'all can hear me now, but lately this has overheated recently. I'm not sure if it's the battery pack or what, but it flashed a message. Yeah, exactly. The internal temp on it. I've had that problem for the past 2 days. Again, it's summer and it's a pretty hot day, but I'm in the basement. Let's keep an eye on that. I can switch to my built-in mic or camera if I need to. We'll keep an eye on that for now. Just let me know in the chat if that happens again, because I can't really see the stream, or I don't at least look at the stream while I'm coding. Okay, so anyway, what I was saying was this should be a green to green refactor, and I want to leave this preg split thing up here instead of moving it down into this extracted method, because it relates to a very specific bit of logic that has to do with the find command, and I just feel like it's more contextually clear what that does right here. Okay, so again, this should be green to green, no changes there. And then what I want to do next is add a new method that's something like update migration stub. All right, and this is what we're going to be building now. So let's add this method. And the first thing we want to do is kind of the easy path. It's basically like if shift file exists, and then we need to go figure out kind of how these get built. So I'm going to go to blue L8, and let's nah whatever we got here, and check out the master branch, and let's do like PHP artisan, and let's just kind of learn what these stubs look like when we publish them. Publish all stubs. Oh, is it an all or nothing thing? Can't be an all or nothing thing. Really? Force quiet options. Force quiet. Really? Publish all stubs. Interesting. All right, they're in the stubs folder, so let's go check this out. Yeah. Stubs. There we go. All right, so let's cat out the migration stub. Oh, there's 2 of them. Interesting. Migration update stub too. Okay, that's good to know. I'm glad we did this. Cat migration update. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do if file exists, stubs, migration, what is this called? Migration dot stub. So if that file doesn't exist, then we can simply just add it. So we can do add core file, or well, crap, it's not going to be a core file. It's going to be more of like a patch. This will be more like a shift command. Again, I'm just going to pseudocode this in the interest of time. So this is basically like copy migration.stub to stubs. migration.stub. This is the easy path. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing for this other one. And let's call this, oops, update stub, I think it was. Yeah, so we're gonna wanna include that one too. So basically these, if you don't have them, the simplest thing to do is just take them, copy them. The one that we copy will be missing this migration. So to that point, let's go back to the Shift repository and go into the resources section. And I think we already have stubs. Yes, we do. Most of these deal with Tailwind, but there are a few things like this form request. So let's do a copy of blue, oh, gotta go farther, blue, what the hell? Oh, gotta go even farther. Blue L8 stubs migration star, yeah, dot. Okay, there they are. Oh, there's a create stub too, jeez. How did I miss that one? Migration create, migration stub. What is in that? Cat migration create, create stub. Oh, it has this drop if exists. Interesting. You know what? It sounds a little crazy, but part of me feels like that one should not be removed. Okay, so the more we actually see there are these, I'm starting to feel like now I want to do something like, say, stubs equals all these different kinds, because the logic here is pretty much going to be the same. We're just going to want to remove these. So we've got create and update. Okay, so the easiest thing to do would say for each stubs as stub, nice. And then we would just check to see if it exists, and if it does, we would just continue. Otherwise, and let's go ahead and clean this up too. So this is going to be more like a little weird. It'll be the stub file, and that's going to need to be cleaned up. There we go. Okay, so if the file doesn't exist, then just copy it and continue on. That's kind of like the return early easy bit. And again, we can always abstract this into its own method as well. So the next thing to do would be to probably parse existing stub file and remove down method, right? That's kind of the next big thing. Here is the crazy bit of that. Here's a little bit of the crazy piece of that. I bet you this is not parsable because of its placeholders. I think it's probably fine down here because it's just going to read as a string, but because of the potential placeholders, I don't think that's going to be parsable. Let's find out. We can find out by just making a quick script. Let's touch script.php. And let's require vendor autoload, and let's put that in here. And let's do something like print r. Let's do something like print r method parser parse, and then the code is like file get contents on resources, stubs, migration.stub. Let's kind of see what this does real quick. Forgot a space in the command. I will check that here in just a second. Yeah, there you go. There's the issue. Okay. Okay. Interesting. What can be done here? What can be done here? I really want to be able to use the parser. The parser yields a more accurate result. If you don't use the parser and you use string manipulation, you can get away with some of the reliability bits, but like you're not. So for example, I could definitely write a regular expression to find the method block and kill it. But what if you have a doc block above it? What if you have inline comments above it? It's not going to work out. So yes, to Adrian's point in the chat, the simplest thing to do would probably be to put my own placeholder in there, to replace the placeholder with my own parsable placeholder, and then replace it back exactly. So it's a little goofy. Here's the goofy part of that. Let me check the time too. I'm gonna have to get back to daddy daycare in a little bit. Here's the weird part of that. What placeholders are in migration files? And can you theoretically add your own? I don't know. I don't think so. All right, let's fix this copy command. Yes, there's that space. And again, this is incomplete anyway. This is kind of a to-do nature, so that's never gonna stay there. I just want to kind of rough this out in kind of the 40 minutes I have here. So let's do this. Let's close this. Let's go to laravelshift.com and let's I want to bring up like the migration generator. They have like a migration creator. Here we go. I want to see how the stub's used and then get a feel for like what is being used. So it's basically like, hey, look, if all these different things exist, great. And then get path, populate stub is probably what we're after. Here we go, populate stub, dummy table. Okay, so currently class and table are the only things that are needing to be replaced. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. In the interest of time, let's copy this and we'll go back to Shift. I hear some chats. Let me try, or let me check those out. Will copy command fail for our Windows brothers and sisters instead of copy? No, because Shift controls the environment. So this script is not only one that is run on the cloud-based Workbench, but it's also run by the Workbench desktop application. But the Workbench desktop application uses a Docker image underneath to be able to control, again, the environment and not have to worry about those kind of things. So that makes it pretty sweet, or at least Are we back? Sorry about that. Jeez. I don't know if I left it on or what, but it is. Well, let's try to go another 5 minutes here. Hopefully it stays on. Let's push on here. Okay, so we got the stub. We're going to str replace dummy class and class with the class name. Oh, they can do no spaces. I see. Good thing we copied this. Jeez. That's interesting. Okay. So let's just change this to something a little odd. Let's change it to shift temporary placeholder class, or class placeholder. I just want it to be like completely ridiculous, so it's just the hit rate would be very, very low when I replace that back. Oh, you know what? Since there's multiple ones, it's really annoying because what if they like used one of these for a specific reason? I don't like this already. I'm gonna roll with it, but I don't like it. All right, let's move on and call this shift temporary table name placeholder. All right, and now I want to see if we can actually parse it. Yes, we can. Okay, and let's talk about the abstract syntax tree, and then I'll probably cut the stream since we've had some overheating camera issues, which are odd. This is why I like to use the abstract syntax tree. I could have tokenized it with a little more success and not had to worry about parsing those tokens, but I don't get really cool things like line endings, visibilities, names, the doc block that precedes it, and its line begin and end, all sorts of things. So I get a lot more detail when I use the abstract syntax tree and a lot more context on like what I found. I know it's a method, whereas if I tokenized the file, yeah, it would probably work, but like I kind of have to start reading different things and knowing what it is, like, because it's just going to be tname down, and then I have to look at the previous token to see that it's a function, and you know, blah blah blah. So this makes life a lot easier. So I think the plan's going to be probably stop here. I'll basically finish this out, this script that we've kind of hacked together, and basically bring this over here to parse it and remove it, kind of just like I did up here. So probably what I'll end up doing is even making like this, probably this portion, its own little method. And then we know we can parse it just like any other migration file, right? So we can leverage the code we already have. So that this is really done. It's just a matter of taking this and kind of moving this code a bit lower, right? So yeah, I think we're kind of in a good place here. Yeah, everything that's inside this for each loop, let's just kind of mess with that real quick, but basically it just becomes like, you know, this dot remove down method, and you pass it a path, and I mean, that's it. And I'll probably just make this parser an instance variable on the class. So yeah, all right, I'll take some comments for a second. You could now work with the original stub content. Yeah. So I think this is pretty good. I think like I said, I think the path through will be to make this little method and kind of move this down. That way I can just kind of reuse it down here and say, look, if these exist, then parse them just like you would a normal migration file, and then do the extra work of kind of like putting the templates back together, putting the placeholders back into the template. So cool. All right, well, before my camera runs out again, we'll cut it off there perfectly at 30 minutes. We'll see how far I get today. I may live stream again tomorrow, or definitely next week, as we continue to add more tasks to the Shift Workbench. Thanks everybody for joining live and bearing with some overheating issues. See you next time.